Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and a quick warning because FTX users have reportedly lost millions of dollars in crypto after 3Commas API keys was said to have been compromised. So make sure you self-custody your own crypto. Remember, not your keys, not your coins. The UK has got a new Prime Minister and Rishi Sunak is indeed bullish on crypto. You can see here, this is all the way back from April this year. We're working to make the UK a global crypto assets hub. He says we want to see the businesses of tomorrow and the jobs they create here in the UK. So sounds very good. Hopefully this can be bullish for crypto. But really, let's be honest, congratulations goes to Klaus Schwab, Uncle Klaus, on becoming the Prime Minister of the UK. He has indeed penetrated the cabinets, and this is no exception. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll quickly play this clip. The young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, half of this cabinet are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. There you go. We penetrate the cabinets, according to Uncle Klaus. And we can also expect more of this. The new UK Prime Minister is pushing heavily to introduce a CBDC. The UK needs Bitcoin. So here you go.
Today, I'm proud to say that under the UK's presidency, the group of the world's 7 most advanced economies, the G7, is launching a set of public policy principles for retail central bank digital currencies.
That's enough of that. You can expect these to be coupled with digital IDs, and yeah, you better opt out. You better choose Bitcoin, you better choose physical gold, and you better do it soon because we are running out of time rather rapidly. The global Bitcoin payments are going to grow by 16.3% yearly from 2022 to 2031, according to Allied Market Research. So if you didn't watch yesterday's video on the effect of compounding and the exponential age, then go and watch that. That will explain this very well, just how powerful this is. This is massive, and we are going to see much higher Bitcoin prices soon. Bank of America have said investors may view Bitcoin as a relative safe haven amid macro uncertainty. This is of course what Bitcoin is. It's just the rest of the market hasn't figured this out yet. But over time, I'm sure they will. Meanwhile, welcome to the Bitcoin shop in the Dominican Republic. Check this out. So again, this is continued adoption. We are continuing to see continued adoption worldwide. Plan B has pointed out that yes, macro, inflation, war, etc. But the next Bitcoin halving is coming. And in his opinion, it will, again, pump Bitcoin. I think we're about to start rounding up. I think we're about to start a mean reversion back to the stock to flow model. I think that we are going to be at 6 figures next year. So don't say I didn't warn you. Meanwhile, the SEC chair and I disagree whether Ethereum is a commodity, according to the CFTC chair. Let's really pause here and just think for a second. I've been saying this over and over again. I continue to say this. There's a massive risk with Ethereum. If you hold a lot of spot Ethereum, this is a risk. Okay, if the SEC come for Ethereum like they did for Ripple, the XRP token, ended up losing 90% of its value approximately on the news. After this happened, Ripple proceeded to lose 90% of its value. It dropped from $2 to around 20 cents. Okay, this is a big problem, or it was a big problem, let's say, for XRP. And if this was to happen for Ethereum, if the SEC were to come after the Ethereum Foundation, then this could mean, if we were to repeat this pattern, we could see Ethereum in the $100 to $200 per token range. The Ether token, that is, could be at $100 to $200 a token. That's not a good look for Ethereum. This is a massive risk, and it's something you need to be aware of. Janet Yellen has said that the Treasury is taking steps to mitigate potential risks in the Treasury market and private money market and bond funds. Here we go. Here we go indeed. The printer is coming. The printer is coming soon, and we are going to see risk come on very strongly on the news. Meanwhile, we continue to see this trend of people of nations moving away from the US dollar. Egypt is going to develop a new currency indicator to wean people off of the US dollar. The trend continues, and I'm sure this will continue. The seasonality on the S&P 500 4-year composite overlay is showing that we are approaching the midterms in November rather rapidly. This fractal is not too dissimilar. I think we're about to find this cycle low. I'm slightly worried. We'll get to the charts in just a second, but I'm slightly worried we've already found it. And we might have to turn this into a breakout trade. That remains to be seen. We'll do the charts just momentarily. But if this is anything like history suggests it might be, then we can expect big upside over the next 6 months. Something else that could fuel this rally, besides the fractal and the amount of puts that are stacked up and the bearish sentiment, is the yields. The 10-year yield is losing momentum. You can see here we got bearish oscillator divergence. We've got a lower high on the oscillator and a higher high in price. 10-year yields could be about to come off, and when they do, this typically coincides with major upside rallies in the equity markets. Let's take a look at the dollar. The dollar is still doing what we expected it to do. It's still trading towards this. I think we're going to make a touch of this red line. I think it would be only natural to expect us to have some reaction, some sort of bounce off of this. Do we make a new high? I think that remains to be seen. Certainly possible that we could go left translated and then roll over. It's also possible that we get a failed bounce and then we break this trend line. That would be incredibly bullish. And as I've said and as I've outlined multiple times, if the US 10-year yield can find a top and roll over, this would also capitalize risk coming on very, very rapidly. Taking a look at the S&P 500 here, you can see that we've just about closed above. I think the futures, when I checked this morning, are slightly green. So we'll see, can we get a retest and resumption? Is it time to long here? Or are we going to get one more dip down to form this cycle low before we can go? I would have thought that this was far too early at day 27 if I pull this back. I would have thought this was too early at 33. Still got like a week or so before we can actually expect this cycle low to form. So that remains to be seen. This would be, where I've got it here, would be a 39. So anywhere between here and perhaps the 3rd of November. Still have to be open to that. The thing that makes me worried that we might have seen a freak early cycle is that if we go to the NASDAQ, look, it has consolidated under resistance, broken out, and now taken out this prior high as well. This is inherently bullish from the NASDAQ right here. Okay, this is not a bearish look whatsoever. And if we go to the Dow breakout, retest, now resuming up. Okay, the Dow is broken out, so it's just the S&P left. All of this in combination makes me think it could well be time to get long equities. So I've been overly patient, but we do have to respect the trend line breaks. This is why I use the trend lines in combination with the cycle low. I think it's time to lean in a bit here. I haven't quite decided if I'm going to take the NASDAQ and have a stop under here. This seems like a reasonable trade to me. Or failing that, if we can get a good retest and resumption off of this trend line, then perhaps this is where we're going to enter. If we have to take a stop, maybe we have to take a stop, and that's not the end of the world because we know that cycle low should form. But like I said, this is why we use the cycles in combination with the trend lines, because if this is just going to blast out of here, then we don't want to miss the bulk of this move. It's better to jump on and perhaps take a 1% stop on our way back down to the cycle low so that we can get a bigger entry and re-enter at a lower level if it was to occur. But what if it doesn't? What if it blasts off here? Well, it would suck to not be in there, right? So we've got to make sure that we are covered in both directions. So I'll be keeping a very keen eye on price today. Hopefully we can get a rollover. That would make the most sense in terms of where the count is. But if we are just going to blast out of here and break out like we have done with the Dow and the NASDAQ, then there's no reason why we shouldn't be longing these, in my opinion. UK 100 kind of looks like it wants lower. Again, I've been saying a little bit more patience. One more lower low would really give me the confidence to jump in here. I'm just not quite seeing it. So again, keeping a keen eye, not in as of this moment. Much more relaxed about the Bitcoin related equities, Coinbase, MicroStrategy, Riot, Marathon. These I think are all going to continue to basically do nothing until we get a bit further along in the cycle. And the same is true, of course, of Bitcoin. We're still kind of far away from that, and the same is true of Ethereum as well. So a little bit more patience here. Drop down into this cycle low would be more than expected. Still pushing XRP, not really doing a whole lot. Still holding the gold short as well. This looks like it might have formed a swing high, so that's great. We want to see this push down in towards the daily cycle low now. So that's the analysis. Need to be really mindful here. Might have to just take a stop. Sometimes, you know, this is why you use risk management. This is why you size your trades appropriately. Sometimes you just got to risk taking a stop here. If we get stopped out, then that's fine because we can go back in at the cycle low, as I've said. So going to be paying a lot of attention. But the Dow and the NASDAQ, they're telling a different story, aren't they? They're telling us that this is a bit more bullish than most people think. So, and if this doesn't roll over today, then it's probably not going to. Tesla is still underneath the resistance, so this is going to be a good entry when it goes. And Apple, look at Apple go as well. Apple's kind of breaking out again, same sort of story, isn't it? It's consolidated under resistance, broken out, had a little bit of a pullback, and now we're going. So again, I think this could well be a trade. Kind of have to have a wide stop on this, but not the end of the world. You could probably move this stop up a bit higher if you wanted to. Anyway, that's the trade ideas. I'll let you know if I make any changes to my positioning. If you want to see that, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you turn the notifications on. In the meantime, have a great week. All the best from me. Take care. Cheers. Bye.